While demolition projects are supposed to be controlled and precise, sometimes things spiral out of control, leading to disastrous results. Today, we're diving into some of the most shocking demolition failures that went far from as planned. Let's explore what went wrong and why in these jaw-dropping cases. Number 1. The Pontiac Silverdome, Michigan, USA. The Pontiac Silverdome was an iconic 83,000-seat stadium in Michigan, once home to the Detroit Lions and famous for hosting events like the NBA, FIFA World Cup, and WrestleMania 3. But after Ford Field opened in Detroit, the Silverdome sat empty for years. By 2017, it was time for the Silverdome to be demolished. On the day of the planned demolition, explosives were set to bring down the upper section of the stadium. When the charges went off, spectators expected to see the structure crumble, but instead, they saw nothing. A few puffs of smoke, but the stadium stood strong. It turned out that 10% of the explosives had failed, leaving the upper portion standing. The demolition team tried again the next day, and while they eventually managed to bring it down, the process took much longer than expected. What was once a proud symbol of Michigan now remains only in memory, with Amazon eventually building a warehouse on the site. Number 2. St. Petersburg Sports and Concert Complex, Russia. Built in 1980, the St. Petersburg Sports and Concert Complex was a hub for entertainment, hosting concerts, sporting events, and more. But by 2020, the building had reached the end of its lifespan, and it was slated for demolition to make way for the world's largest ice arena. The plan seemed straightforward: demolish the building carefully. However, things took a tragic turn when part of the structure collapsed unexpectedly during the preparation phase, trapping workers inside. One person lost their life, and several others were injured. This incident was a stark reminder of the dangers that come with demolishing massive structures, even when strict safety protocols are in place. Number 3. Turkish Flour Factory, Turkey. In 2009, a demolition team in Turkey was tasked with bringing down a towering, abandoned flour factory built in 1928. But despite their best efforts, things didn't go as planned. When the explosives were detonated, instead of collapsing in a controlled fashion, the building flipped onto its roof. It landed precariously close to nearby homes, barely avoiding disaster thanks to a sturdy wall. Number 4. Danish Silo, Denmark. In 2018, a massive crowd gathered in Denmark to witness the demolition of a 173-foot silo that had stood by the harbor for decades. The plan was to make it fall away from nearby buildings, but when the explosives were triggered, the silo collapsed in the opposite direction, raining debris over a nearby cultural center that housed a library and a music school. Thankfully, no one was inside the building at the time, but the damage was extensive, leaving the local firefighters with a huge mess to clean up. Number 5. Liverpool Apartments, UK. In Liverpool, 2 apartment towers, Churchill House and Montgomery House, were scheduled for demolition in 2016. But these buildings refused to go down without a fight. After the first round of explosions, neither of the towers budged. The demolition team tried again the next day, managing to bring down Churchill House, but Montgomery House still stood tall. Finally, on the third attempt, the stubborn building started to fall, but it required a lot of extra effort, including cranes and cables, to completely demolish it. Number 6. Zip Feed Mill Tower, USA. The Zip Feed Mill Tower in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, was the tallest building people could enter in the state, standing at 202 feet. However, its demolition in 2005 didn't go as planned. After cutting through the supporting bars and setting off the explosives, the base of the building crumbled, but the tower itself simply fell sideways onto its basement. The demolition team had underestimated the structure's strength, and instead of collapsing entirely, the tower sat at an awkward angle, forcing workers to use cranes and wrecking balls to finish the job. These cases are just a few examples of how demolition doesn't always go according to plan. It's a reminder that even with careful planning, things can still go wrong in spectacular ways. Which story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating stories like this. We will see you in our next video.